Got me? And now you're lying. Okay. That's true.
Big pickle.
How was your trip?
Good, good. Good.
Although I think she made it almost every night. Not too often. By 8 o'clock, she no. Because I was eating. Sleep and I went through. They were in the kitchen making Right. Right. Everything. Yeah, take a picture out here quick. Yeah.
I just don't remember now.
Was it?
Multi-talented. On that way or this way? You got it.
Welcome to the Maumee City Council meeting. It is October 7th, 6:15. Call the roll, please.
Fiskus?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Huffenberger? Yes. Barrow?
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is our committee of the whole, and I'll turn that over to President Barrow. I do have a couple things up front, but President Barrow. I can move on that.
Introduction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, welcome, Chief. Tonight we're going to introduce a new firefighter that's been hired. This is number 6 out of, I believe, 12 that we're kind of shooting for. So we're about halfway there. And Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. I'd like to introduce Chris Lackman. Chris comes to us from the Swanton Fire Department. He's been in the fire service 15 years in the been 10. And he's been very active in this area and also has experience in Kentucky. He lives in Slovenia with his wife and 4 children. Are here today, but I'll let you go ahead and
My name is Chris Leckman. This is my wife, Lacey. We've been married for almost 7 years. We also have 4 children, all in the age of 6, and they're all very sick. With us, but my parents were very gracious for watching. Very excited to be hired by this department. It's kind of a new job. So, thank you.
And I have a badge for you to give him. I also want to just let you guys know today that this is your new shift started today, October 7th. Our new shift doctor, and I have an entire new shift here. Except for paramedic Warner, he's on a killing day, but nothing on support of Chris. Thank you. Great.
Yeah, thank you very much. And welcome, A-Ship, Lieutenant Williams.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Second, before we get any further into the agenda, President Barrow, if you would mind, I'd like to read a proclamation. Sure. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I thought this was important. I was approached by several citizens that they would like to get this message out, and I thought it was very important too. I think you've seen a lot of love your neighbor signs kind of throughout the city, and that's kind of like where these have generated from. So I thought it was important to make a proclamation relative to the Intentional Acts of Kindness Week that is from October 29th and November 4th, which is leading up to Election Day. Whereas the Neighbor to Neighbor Initiative Toledo Coalition is encouraging and promoting kindness and respect of the dignity of every person through its scheduled activities through the fall of 2024. The Neighbor to Neighbor Initiative is all about love. Love your neighbor as yourself, even those who vote differently than you. Whereas one of the activities the Neighbor to Neighbor Initiative is sponsoring is an Intentional Act of Kindness Week from October 29 to November 4, which will encourage simple and meaningful acts of kindness and compassion between neighbors and others. Whereas the spirit of kindness enriches our community and fosters harmony amongst its residents, and whereas Intentional Acts of Kindness Week from October 29 to November 4 promotes acts of compassion, empathy, and goodwill towards others, cultivating a culture of kindness that transcends borders and backgrounds. And whereas kindness has the power to uplift spirits, strengthen bonds, and create positive change in our society. Whereas the city of Maumee recognizes the value of acts of kindness that are performed without prompting or reason, and how these acts can positively impact the person offering kindness, the person receiving kindness, and those witnessing it as well. Whereas acts of kindness can be performed by any person in the city of Maumee, regardless of age, origin, education, gender, religious beliefs, lifestyle, or abilities for the good around them. Whereas kind individuals can create a more caring community and help to perpetuate genuine acts of kindness within their city, state, and even the world. Whereas promoting kindness aligns with the values of the city of Maumee in nurturing and supportive and inclusive environment for all citizens. Whereas acts of kindness, whether small or grand, contribute to building a more connected and resilient community. Whereas recognizing Intentional Acts of Kindness Week from October 29 to November 4 serves as a reminder of our collective responsibility to spread kindness in our daily lives. And whereas fostering kindness extends to welcoming tourists, part-time residents, creating bonds and relationships that strengthen the fabric of our community, and ensuring that all who visit Maumee feel valued and respected. Whereas treating our community with kindness helps protect its infrastructure and natural beauty, ensuring that Maumee remains a cherished place for future generations. Now, therefore, I, James McDonald, Mayor of the City of Maumee, do hereby proclaim October 29, 2024 through November 4, 2024 as an Intentional Acts of Kindness Week in Maumee. I encourage all citizens to participate in acts of kindness, compassion, and generosity towards others throughout this week and beyond. Further, I urge our community to extend these acts of kindness to their neighbors, businesses, schools, police, other drivers, visitors, employees in Maumee, tourists and residents, and part-time residents, building lasting relationships that enhance the spirit of Maumee. Let's blanket our community with acts of kindness. Let's create positive neighborly interactions. Let's remind anyone to love their neighbor. Let's lift the spirits at election sites. Let's build a kinder, gentler neighborhood. Signed, James McDonald. Thank you, President Brown. Thank you.
Continuing on, now we have the agenda in front of you. Any questions or comments? Okay, Councilman Linebaugh.
First question I have is for our finance director. One of the items on the agenda tonight has to do with a contract with Promo for tree planting and maintenance services. But I was wondering, what's the source of those funds, and are there any legal restrictions on how those funds must be used?
The tree planting is paid out of our general fund, which is supported by income tax aid.
Okay, so no restrictions.
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, President. This is for Councilwoman Pufferberg, as Chair of the Finance Committee. I did read in the Finance Committee notes, what took place at the Finance Committee. And I mentioned it because at our last meeting on September 16th, I requested that the Finance Committee revisit the facade loan grant program and see if there's anything that people think might need to be changed. It happened quicker than I thought. You had a meeting, as I understand, already scheduled on the 20th, and so it was brought up at that meeting. And I read again in the meeting minutes that it was voted. There were no changes needed at the time. I was just curious, did anyone present express any concerns, not about the intent of the program, but about how grant amounts are determined?
Not that I recall.
Okay.
I don't see them in notes. Not that I recall, but.
Okay. Well, because both my questions, they're dealing with spending, city spending, spending your money, our money. And while the city's responsible for doing a lot of things, we plant trees, we take care of our parks, we deliver services. I believe the city has one overriding concern above all those, and that's resolving our sanitary sewer problem. We know it's going to be expensive, so I'm thinking we should be allocating as many of our discretionary funds as we have available to address that specific problem, which is the sanitary sewers. We know personnel costs are going to be going up as we address those issues. Materials and supplies are going to be going up. So I think we need to be distinguishing between our needs and our wants at this time. And spending on any of the non-essential goods and services, things that, in my opinion, fall under the wants and not necessarily needs. We should curtail some of those non-essential ones for the time being and direct those funds towards sewer fixes. Some of the proposed spending activities, I think, they're well-intentioned, make a lot of sense. I think the timing is not good. I think we need to wait for a more fiscally opportune time to undertake some of those and stay focused on the sewers. I just want to share those thoughts.
Any other thoughts on this topic?
I don't agree. I was telling my husband before I came tonight that I see it as if you drop one of your paddles when you're paddling on a boat and you turn circles, if you're only concentrating on one thing, you have to still be able to do all the things you need to do with the city along with a huge focus and spending on the sewer situation, which we have been doing. I mean, the huge focus of everyone has been trying to solve and figure out how to best solve the sewer system. But we also have a lot of other things that we need to do at the same time. And a huge source of the money that we get for all those things is through income tax, which is not something that is then going to get spent on the sewer project. I mean, it's just the way our funds are set up and spent. But income tax is our big source to do all the things we need to do. And improvement of any infrastructure is important at attracting and keeping businesses, which have employees, which give us our income taxes. So and seeing the way that a program like that helps communities with revitalizing their towns, especially in old historic areas, because it takes a little extra something to keep those buildings up. I think it's very important. So.
Thank you, Mark Pufferberger. And I'd like to add on the same also disagree with that because the facade grants that they've done, they help spur economic development. I know you hear that a lot from us, but in the last 5 years I've been accountable. The new businesses and people investing in Maumee has gone straight up, much like Hofstra, public company, especially Maumee. When you give a facade grant, it encourages that business owner to put it back into his businesses, and the community is part of that. That's why we do it because it's public use. It takes care of engagement properties, gives them an incentive to do things, to upgrade their property. Maybe they wouldn't have. There's quite a few people who have already taken advantage of this program, and we've looked at it. We've looked at the finances. We've spoken with the finance director. We've gone pretty thoroughly, and a portion of it is on a loan. It's not just it's not a grant. It's a loan/grant. And some of those percentages are paid back, but I support it fully. Thank you. Were there any more questions about anything? Zuckerberg?
I'd like to make a specific observation. Having met with CNAC a couple of times, we're meeting with them tomorrow. I think we may have a solution that's viable within our reach for the sewer issue. When you're talking $80 to $120 million, 30, 60 doesn't seem like a lot of money. In terms of what the impact that would make over spending $100 million to fix the sewer problem without adjusting your rate, which is probably what will be proposed. Not sure at some point, like Councilwoman Pufferberger said, and you said, and deference to Councilman Linebacker, I think at some point, my job is economic development. We stop spending money in economic development, we're going to go down a rabbit hole that none of us want. This is part of an economic development project. When you lower the grant amounts to the point where you give a grant that doesn't impact whether somebody does a job or not, means you've wasted your money. So often I've been involved $40, $50 million of grant programs, and I get really irritated like we did at the JED community. We were giving job grants for people who were investing $36 million and we're giving them 12 grand of grants. That did not have an impact about whether they invested that money in our community. At some point, the grant has to make a difference. And I want to kind of give you an idea of where the grant amount came from. I think Mr. Leinbach asked that question of the grant amount was determined is looking at the facade
replace the windows, historically correct, tuck point the front of the building, paint it. That's about $80,000. So I backed out of it by a 30% match, it could be down to a 60 total match. Now there have been people who have taken advantage of the program to the tune of 47 to 36 grand. Those are Jackie's Depot, owned by Mr. and Mrs. Tony Falcon, and also by Bill Anderson. At Dale is also taking advantage of that program. I think those programs are necessary to make those style renovations happen, because they wouldn't have been done for the past. So I just want to be clear where that number came from, why there's a max of 60. But remember, the grant program says you have 30% total. So if you have a $30,000 project, you subtract out 50%, that's what they pay, and then you have, depending on the amount, you pay back over 5 years, higher amount than the money you actually spent. So it's a grant loan program. So just want to clarify.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. The facade grant obviously does spur economic growth in our city, and it is important to give incentive pieces to businesses, especially in the districts that we have. And we've had some people that are taking advantage of it. And also, as we're looking at Wayne Street the next coming years, there's a lot of facades over there that he's improving as part of our uptown project. The grant or the sewer funds is an enterprise fund. Therefore, the money needs to come from sewer funding. I think it's very detrimental to paralyze other funds in the city, and because of something that we think we can have a plan for and moving forward. We've seen some properties that have turned over in the uptown area that have gotten top money because of the city's willingness and commitment to improve the uptown area and offer some sort of incentive pieces. And we had an investor that's taken over 3 storefronts on West Wayne and is going to develop those because of such things as the facade grant and the development in the uptown area. We've had some anchors uptown here that wanted to, that probably would not have done anything to their building had there not been some sort of an incentive piece. And some of it is required to get paid back. So moving forward for the future of Maumee, I think it's a very important piece, and I appreciate Council's commitment to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Powell. This concludes the committee of the whole.
Thank you. Next up is citizen comments. We have 3 that have come forward. Valerie Giovici. Welcome, Valerie.
Valerie Giovici, 628 Midfield Drive. I want to address a couple things. First of all, if police were charging individuals for breaking the law instead of falsely accusing citizens of criminal charges, maybe unsafe behavior would stop. One is something that I've already been up to administrative offices and complained about, and Nancy was there that day. That is the workers in the city that are driving the front end loaders full of gravel, running the stop signs at Gibbs and Willis. I've witnessed it more than once, and when I mentioned it to Nancy, there was a gentleman in the office that also said that he witnessed the same thing. Needless to say, I witnessed it again this week. Front end loader running right through Elizabeth down off of Broadway, running the stop sign. So to me, I feel like if the police were actually charging people who were breaking the law instead of falsely accusing citizens of other things. Cars parking on streets with double yellow lines, causing me to break the law, to go over the double yellow line to get around them. So, and that was an issue before this was all done over here with the parking spaces right in front of the church there. It's still taking place over on Cambridge Park, or that Chesterfield, and it turns into Chesterfield off of K. And I think my main concern is the fact that, you know, we want our children to be safe on Halloween, then things like this need to be addressed. because it is a dangerous practice for this individual. It's the same individual driving a front end loader with full of gravel, running stop signs. So I think it's important that it needs to be addressed.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Miss Amy Falcon. 3 minutes, if you just give your address, please.
609 West Broadway Street.
Thank you.
A lot of this has already been addressed, but I just want to bring it up again. The facade grant really confuses. If this is taxpayer money, why don't taxpayers have a say how it gets spent? I get economic development. My uncle is probably one of the best economic developers that there is, but it has to go hand in hand. You can't put lipstick on pig. If our foundation is cracking, all the beautiful facades in the neighborhood are going to make them damn bit of difference. So we're offering these grant loans where sometimes they only pay back up to $6,000, correct? They pay $100 a month, from my understanding. Why are these not opened up to everybody? We have dilapidated houses that people can't fix. Are they able to apply for grants as well? Are they able to get, pay back that as well, or is we just get open business? I mean, I get that we need to grow. I hail from Portland, Ohio. That's a tourist town. It's a beautiful town. We like economic development, but if we don't have them both hand in hand, we're going to have economic development, but nobody to go to these places. And I just really want to thank Phil, because I believe it's at the last meeting. You said even the people with the tracking on the sign love Maumee, and they do. I've only been here a really short time. I'm a transplant, but I love them. I've met people that I have never have met if it weren't for all of us. And we have good people, but we need to build on a foundation. We can't let it crack and crumble and only worry about the business. We have to worry about the people in it too. And we have a lot of elderly. I can't tell you how many elderly or young families that I deliver food to in a week. Or I send my husband over to pick something at the house. We have a beautiful blessing back here to make sure that our elderly, not just in Maumee, but everywhere, can get the medical supplies and equipment that they need. So I get that we need to help these businesses, but we need to help the people too. Can we open, can't we open it up to them?
Thank you. Thank you. And last is Ryan Spengler. Chief, can you help me with the microphone, please?
Hi, Mayor. It's Ryan on the 1415 Shepherd Drive. I wanted to come tonight and just show support and appreciation to the council. And also, I would like to encourage people that it's going to be time to vote here soon, and there's different issues that are up. And I just want to remind people that when you go to vote, you don't just really vote to thinking like, well, I'm going to vote on this something that may not apply to you. I want to remind people that if it's important enough to be on the ballot and to be an issue, then for being a good community, it's important for everybody to be heard and everybody to vote on it, whether it's one way or the other. And I'm not here to try and politic what's one way or the other on politics, but other than just to encourage the community to be heard, And also, lastly, I want to bring up that at the last meeting, there was some behavior that just wasn't very well. It didn't look very close, And there was even somebody that even put the weight to the board. And, I don't appreciate it. But, if this meeting is hard for you, you just want to sit here and mumble negative stuff like you're correct. Then, you can sit at home and watch a movie because everybody, there's a little piece of paper over there that you can fill out. And if you want to speak, then get up here and talk and be heard, but don't be rude to your neighbors and your they come up to and do what part of, and be proactive. That's it, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes citizen comments, and we'll move to the adoption of the agenda. I need a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to modify the agenda, if I may. To move, and the motion would be to move consent calendar items F and G to new business, that's 11D and 11E.
I would second Councilman Lineback's motion to move those two items, F and G.
Okay, the motion is to move consent calendar F and G into new business as items D and E. Yes.
Do we have discussion on that?
Yes, that's the motion. Okay, and yes, discussion. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would have to.
Do we have a second? I'm sorry, Mr. Kirk, did you? Okay, yes. Yeah, discussion. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason is so that any of the items in the consent calendar that have a direct financial impact, like the contract that I mentioned, facade grant, that those can just be voted on separately and not part of the rest of the items on the consent calendar.
Anything further?
Well, so wouldn't it F also have a direct financial impact for new positions?
I'm not unbelieving.
Oh, yeah, the H, I guess H is, it's wrongly put on my paper. I mean, that, if that's the reason, I just want to point that out.
Yeah, the second F is actually H.
Yeah, H.
Yes. And any other further discussion on the motion before we approve the agenda? Yes, Mr.
I
Moon.
just want to put on record that going forward, if we're going to make adjustments to the agenda, we're going to do that in the whole. So it's.
Thank you.
If I just may, there's a point where I was unclear whether that should happen to committee of the whole, if that's the place. At one time in the past, I was told to do it when we adopt the agenda, but Councilman Newman, if that's the place to do it, I will do it. In the future, if I need to do it, I will do it for a committee of the whole.
Hey, just because, sorry, can I respond?
Yes, go ahead.
Hey, just because we're just about to do a motion to approve the agenda, so I just want to make sure that we're following Robert's Rules of Order, right? So if we do that at committee of the whole, we kind of know going in to that motion of the agenda, whether it's provided or not.
Yeah, any adjustments to the agenda or discussion of the agenda items, I do believe should be included.
Okay.
Moving forward. Yeah.
Noted.
Okay. Yes.
And I just one more thing, like, don't we have the ability, we would like to move one of these, when we reach out to President Farrell or either of you and do it before the meeting, you don't have to go through this whole problem.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
make it a little quicker.
Okay.
That's
good.
That's an option.
Good knowledge, yeah, thank you.
All right, motion on the floor to move consent items F and G to new business as D and E. Call the roll.
Biscuit? Harris? Bird?
Yes.
Linebacker,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yeah.
Bear.
And then a motion to approve the agenda as revised.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I move to approve the agenda as revised.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Call the roll.
Biscuit.
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
Linebacker,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yes.
Bear.
Approval of meeting minutes on September 16th. We need a motion for that, please. Mr. Castillo.
Mayor McDonald, I move to approve regular meeting minutes of September 16th, 2020.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will second that motion.
We'll call the roll on the meeting minutes from September 16th.
Biscuit.
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Bird,
Yes.
Linebacker,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Pufferberger.
Yes.
Bear.
Petitions and communications, I don't believe we need a motion on either one of these items, actually. This is just a communication piece. Just letting the community know that our neighborhood trick-or-treating will be Halloween night, October 31st, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And also, I believe we're going to let the media outlets in the schools know we did that today. Okay. And also, I do believe that MUBA is also having their Uptown Trick-or-Treat business night on Tuesday, October 29th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And I understand if a business wants to participate, that they put a pumpkin in their window, and that's usually a pretty well-attended community event by the kiddos in London. So that'll be on the MUBA Uptown is Tuesday, October 29th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. I do believe there's also a trunk or treat at Appliance Center, but I'm not sure the date on that. If somebody can help me on that. The 22nd, October 22nd evening, October 22nd, and that's at Appliance Center. Plenty of candy for the kiddos this year, that's for sure.
And Mayor, I think we usually do a motion to accept petitions, communications.
Okay, let me explain one more thing and then we'll vote on it. Thank you. Also, we have a report from the Finance Committee. We're going to place that on file from September 20th. Is there any further discussion on that from the chair of the Finance Committee?
I will note that we did look at the SAD program and read over it and discussed it and didn't see any need for changes, all except for a very slight change to the worksheet from our finance director, just to make things move a little smoothly, more clear.
Any further discussion on that? Need a motion to accept the petitions and communications?
Do so, accept the petition.
Thank you. A second?
Second motion.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Duncan?
Yes.
Harris?
Yes.
Bird?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Kloppenburger?
Yes.
Barrow?
And next is our consent calendar. We'll have a motion to approve and a second, and then we'll discuss these. Mr. Business.
Mayor, I move to approve all consent calendar items.
Mr. Newman.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Second motion.
Okay, thank you very much. A quick description of consent calendar. City Council has examined each item on the consent calendar, proposed legislation and other items set forth on this agenda that involves the expenditure of public funds, use of public property, or use of the city of Maumee resources, and have determined and find that any action or expenditure set forth in these items would be for and serve a public purpose as defined by Ohio law. That the expenditure and or use of public property would be for the general good, the residents and taxpayers of the city of Maumee and the general public, and promotes the public health and general welfare of the citizens of the city of Maumee and the general public. And on B, we have a recommendation from myself and the finance director, authorize approval of an agreement with Lucas County Commissioners for the use of the Lucas County electronic monitoring program. This is an expenditure the court uses electronic monitoring for people that on probation. Next is a recommendation from the city administrator authorizing and updating the rules and regulations for Riverside Cemetery and allow the veterans' graves to be cleaned. I'd just like to give a little bit of a synopsis of Riverside Cemetery and why and how this person has come forward. Riverside Cemetery is older than the city itself. As records show, the first burial was in 1835, but the village of Maumee was not incorporated until 3 years later in 1838. The first person to be buried in the cemetery was William Smith, a 3-year-old son of J.W. and V.E. Smith. That was on August 8th of 1935, or 1835. 2 persons were buried in 1836, James Jackson, 75, on February 4th, and Amos Clark, who's 15 years old, son of Elijah and M. Clark, on September 13th. Though the cemetery opened in 1835, it was 1900 before the village began issuing deeds to lot owners, which we still do to this day. The first deed transferred 4 lots of graves each to Maumee Lodge number 682, independent order of the Oddfellows, and it was priced at $1 per lot. and shortly after the price was raised to $5. And by the time deeds number 3 and 4 issued in the fall of 1900, the price was up to $10 per lot. The cemetery is managed and maintained by the city of Maumee and the public service. The gentleman that's come forward in his business, his business is Remember Veteran Grave Markers Incorporated, or RVGM. It's done by Dr. James Phillips. He does not charge for fixing the gravestones down there. It is a public charity which focuses on the awareness and education on government-issued veteran headstones only and grave markers located on municipal and private cemeteries in Lucas County. So he petitioned us, and we looked at it and looked into it as to exactly what was involved and how he did it, that he wasn't going to ruin any of the old stones that were there. The prerequisite is it has to be a government-owned stone. It doesn't cost the city anything. He's a charity business that takes donations. He's been doing this for quite some time and has people that come forward that offer to support his endeavors. So we will take him up on that. We feel that's very important, and we'll monitor that as we move forward. Any other information or discussion on that? Anybody else?
I think it's, thank you, Mayor. I think it's a great idea. Great concept.
Thank you.
And I wanted to know the process. That if we're essentially doing the first item, which is gain permission from the cemetery of the family. So then he goes on to identify the government furnished veteran grave marker headstone, determine the condition of the marker, create a cleaning plan, document your work, and then form the cemetery results. So I look forward to seeing the results after it's done.
I believe we do have some civil work markers done too as well. We'll look forward to see how that turns out. Item D is a recommendation from the city administrator authorizing the mayor or the city administrator to submit renewal of government aggregation electric certification to the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. Any comment on that?
No, both this item and next are dealing with a company that negotiates on behalf of citizens to get a lower rate if they get together. If you haven't, if anybody in the audience hasn't opted out, you are in the aggregation by Palmer Energy, which means you've received a negotiated rate for electrical and gas service that I've covered for.
Okay, so that also explains E. And then F and G were moved, and we're down to the new F, or H, or the new F. It's a recommendation from the Personnel Committee. Mr. Newton, any discussion on that?
Yeah, do you want me to read this and clarify? Sure. Okay. Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Essentially, this recommendation from the Personnel Committee is to approve project supervisor job descriptions for 2 new positions in the service division, an additional 5 positions in the sewer divisions, reclassify service supervisors, and assistant supervisors to grade 2 and grade 3 and 2 respectively, and reclassify the capital projects manager and engineering inspection manager to grades 5 and 4 respectively. Just to add to that, personnel they met to talk about these positions, what and the necessity to it. There were a couple of members from the CMAC that were citizens there, and just wanted to reiterate that every position was discussed, and it was all properly made. Motion was made, seconded, and they were all unanimous. So just wanted to clarify that too.
Thank you, Mr. Birch.
Yeah, I just want to make clear that if you approve it tonight, these take effect January 1st, 2025, except for the positions that were created, which have to have reclassification, do not happen until the first year.
Anything further from council? Okay, can I get a motion, Mr. Newton, please? Or no, I'm sorry, from consent calendar. So we have a motion to approve all consent calendar items in a second. Anything further? Okay, call the roll on that, please.
Biscuit.
Yeah.
Harris.
Yes.
Kurt.
Yes.
Lineback.
Yes.
Noonan.
Yes.
Hockenberger.
Yes.
Barron.
Yes. We have no other business, new business. We have 5 items. A, as a recommendation from the mayor to approve resolution 20-2024, a resolution authorizing support for Project IM 2025. Mr. Noonan, two motions for that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor McDonald. First, I would like to make a motion to waive the three readings.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Biscuit?
Yeah.
Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Pufferberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes. Before we approve the extra resolution, I'm going to yield to Brian in the audience. I don't know if you're willing to say anything about Project IM, or about this year or last year, or maybe any thoughts?
Oh, definitely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Project IM, we're in our 18th year, so we thank the city of Maumee for accommodating us for the past 17 years. We've grown from a very small event at the Village Idiot to last year having nearly 25,000 people attend the event. We raised total income of over $360,000, and we've given $280,000 just this past year to families in need, many here in the Maumee area. And over the past 17 years, over $1 million. We couldn't do it without the city's help. And we not only have national, but now international recognition and interest in this organization and in the city of Maumee. Just to let everybody know, if you haven't already heard, there's a television program called Viewpoint, hosted by Dennis Quaid. Their crew was in the city about 2 months ago and filmed an episode for an upcoming date. We don't know what date it's going to be on yet, but they went through and interviewed many of the families that we benefit and some of the businesses here in the area. They did a really good filming of the Maumee area. Much appreciated in the city for all their help.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Noonan, yes.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will make a motion to approve resolution 020-2024, a resolution authorizing support for Project IM 2025.
And I will second that motion.
Thank you. We'll call the roll on resolution 20.
Biscuit?
Yeah.
Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Pufferberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yes. Item B is a recommendation from the city administrator approving resolution 21-2024, supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial, which I believe is July of 26. And that's, this is kind of given to communities whether they're willing to support the national efforts that are going to move forward in July of 2026 for the semi-quincentennial. So we need a motion to waive and approve, please. Yes.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I would like to make a motion to waive the three readings.
Excuse me, thank you. Thank you. I'll call the roll.
Biscuit?
Yeah.
Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
No.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Pufferberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yeah. And approval?
Oh, thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 021-2024, a resolution supporting the Ohio Commission for the United States Semi-Quincentennial.
Call the roll.
Biscuit? Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Lineback?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Pufferberger?
Yes.
Barrow?
Yeah. Item C is a recommendation from the city administrator approving resolution 22-2024, a resolution to approve the Lucas County Hazard Mitigation Plan and declare an emergency. We need two motions on this, please. First of all, is there any discussion on this? Any additional comments, additional information?
I think Gina Cho was part of the group that met to just update the ongoing hazard mitigation plan that's been in effect for a number of years within this county. I'm correct.
Okay.
So it's just another plan to deal with any other issues that may have arisen that they didn't recognize prior.
And all communities that are involved basically have to provide resolutions and support.
Correct.
Gotcha.
of the few changes was air quality as a result of the Canadian wildfires from last year. So,
Okay, we need a motion, 2 motions on this, please. Yes, Mr. Barrow. Thank you. Mayor McDonald, then move to suspend the rules to declare emergency.
I think Mayor McDonald, I will second.
Call the roll.
Biscuit,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hockenberger,
yes,
Barrow,
Yes. I approve resolution, approve resolution 22/2024, the resolution to approve the Lucas County Hazard Mitigation Plan and declare it an emergency. And I will second.
Call the roll, please.
Biscuit,
Yep.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
Yes.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hockenberger,
yes,
Barrow,
Next item is a recommendation from the city administrator to authorize a contract with Maumee Promo LLC for fall tree planting and maintenance at various locations throughout the city in the amount of $44,500. Any discussion on?
Well, do we need to do a suspend the rules to put it in?
I don't believe so. I think just a motion to approve.
But this is a contract that we've used sometimes. Matt Fry from here at this company is from.
Yes. Any further on that? We'll call the roll.
Biscuit,
Yeah.
Harris,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make the motion for this, letter E,
Yes.
authorizing D, to authorize contract with Malone Promo LLC for fall tree planting and maintenance at various locations throughout the city in the amount of $44,500.
Mr. Kirk, did you second it?
I will, second that.
Thank you. Call the roll.
Biscuit,
Yeah.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Lineback,
No.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hockenberger,
yes,
Barrow,
Yeah.
Thank you, Council, for approving the necessary cutting of grass around our city. Appreciate that. We'll go to the next one, recommendation from the city administrator approving the facade grant for Clara J's in the amount of $60,000.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will move to approve the facade grant for Clara J's in the amount of $60,000.
Thank you.
thank you, Mayor McDonald, I'll second that motion.
Thank you. We'll call the, any discussion on that, any further discussion? Okay, we'll call the roll.
Biscuit,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Kurt,
No.
Lineback,
No.
Noonan,
Yes.
Hockenberger,
Yes,
Barrow,
Yes.
Okay, we'll move on. There is no old business. And just a couple comments. I would like to congratulate 4 young men that did earn the level of Eagle Scout at the St. Paul's Lutheran Church. Aiden Ward, Elijah Moore, Isaac Farley, and Matthew Mullins, under the supervision of Scoutmaster Jeff Ward, Assistant Scoutmaster Kylie Moore. Achieving an Eagle Scout is a lot of work, and it's a lot of commitment. And for 4 young men to do that all at once and have projects that benefited the city, I congratulate them for their efforts. And also St. Paul's for sponsoring a really good leadership type program there. Also, I would like to thank all those that have been involved so far in the cleanup of Epstein Park. It's in the middle of Arrowhead Park. It was completely overgrown with invasive species. It was not usable at all. It's kind of in the middle of a wooded area off the woodlands. And we've had some volunteer efforts that kind of spearheaded with Mr. Birch and some others that have made a big difference out there and produced some canopy for thriving trees and getting rid of some invasive stuff that they can be now used in the future. So thank you to all the efforts that have been out there. Those will be continuing, I understand, in the next couple of weeks. It is a city park. Most people do not know where it is, but it is in the middle of the woods out in Arrowhead there, surrounded by businesses. And the city does own it. It was in need of a lot of attention. So thank you for those who stepped forward and put their volunteer efforts to help with that. On Saturday, September 28th, I did attend the St. Luke's commemorative program that was sponsored by Mercy, where they were officially recognizing all the employees and, from St. Luke's that used to work there, nursing staff, doctors, medical staff, support volunteers. There was over 300 people there. They filled the auditorium and ran into a lot of people that they knew there, from not only my own police days when we used to frequent the ER quite a bit, but also just administrative people that I came to know that were there for many, many, many years. It's sad in a way that we're going to lose a hospital in the local area here, but competition, the way that whole thing kind of came about, this was the end result of it. I know there's talk about what that's going to look like in the future from Mercy, and nothing is definitive at this point. But it was a very moving ceremony, and it was kind of like they did the last call on the EMS channel of the fire band, which was very moving, and took the flag down and presented it to the CFO of Mercy as the last lowering of the flag. It was a good ceremony. Went on for a couple hours. It was a lot of really good information and speeches that were made. Also this Wednesday, homecoming parade in Maumee. It's going to go from the Maumee Middle School down Sackett Street, across Key to Craig, and then left on Craig, and then enter into the high school on 4th Street. So that will begin at 6 o'clock on Wednesday. We'll have homecoming parade. And the boys football team is doing quite well this year, so I'm hoping for good things for them. And we'll move on to the next council member, Mr. Fiskus.
A few people, events I want to recognize. 2 weekends ago, I was unable to attend. I was out of town, but the Maumee Film Fest returned. Everything I heard from it was great to do. And our theater manager, Sarah Iden, presented with the Blancy Award for all that she's done to help bring it back and keep it thriving. I had the homecoming parade as well. I think it's actually starting at the end of the year. Okay. Yeah, not middle school. My bad. Just so nobody goes down there and gets disappointed when they miss the parade. You are absolutely correct. The Old Wayne Trail.
I stand corrected.
Old Wayne Trail for
Wayne Trail. Yes, thank you.
You are right. Last weekend was the autumn market at the Wolcott House. That was a really fun event. Lots of neat vendors. My boys enjoyed the giant caterpillar. Some people did not like it. The Music in Motion for the marching band is next Saturday, October 19th. There are 18 bands scheduled to be there, possibly more added because as the season goes on, more bands can qualify for state competition. But it starts at 4:30 at the high school stadium. Maumee will be going on about 9:15, and the last band is actually going to be the UT Rock marching band. Cool. They're fun with that. And then I'll be getting together with council members Poppenberger and Lehman. We're going to schedule a public information meeting, and as soon as we have that date set, we'll put it out there so everyone knows. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Two things. First of all, congratulations to our newest firefighter, Chris Weckman. You did do a good job. You've been at that here in the community. Secondly, I just want to remind everyone we're approaching Veterans Day. If you remember last year, the Chamber of Commerce, we wanted to honor our veterans, and we have a goal in mind of helping 50 or going to the houses of 50 veterans and just showing our appreciation to them. We ended up, I think 212 was the final number of veterans we were able to go and meet with and have lengthy discussions and talks about the time they were in. And this year we're going to do our second annual rendition of that. So I want to make sure that if there's any veterans out there or anyone that you know, if they weren't on the list last year, I'd really like to get it to direct them to the Chamber of Commerce this year. You can get a hold of 419-893-5805. So we want to try to increase our numbers from last year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kirk?
Thank you, Mayor. I would also congratulate the new firefighter and welcome Chris to service here in Maumee in our fire service. other than that, I have nothing.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you, Mayor. I know you mentioned that the Intentional Act of Kindness Week is not official until late October to early November, whatever those dates were, but it came to my attention, some people who were getting a jump on that this past week. They were driving their car down River Road and saw an older couple trying to get some things, I think it was from the Wolcott house, in the back of their car. And they were really struggling, and the car just wasn't even big enough. So this person, no, they stopped to help, offered, hey, I can put some of that other stuff in my car, and that's what they did. They drove it home, followed the people home, and I think that's just one example of many things that go on in our town, and the more the merrier. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Newman.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. Just wanted to reiterate everybody else's words and doing congratulations to the new firefighter. That'll be it. Thank you.
Mrs. Puffer.
Thank you. I have a few things. We have some events coming up through the Environmental and Tree Advisory Commission. We are going to have an invasives to natives talk on October. It's a two-part talk. So October 24th at 6 p.m. at the Maumee Library. We'll have someone from the Metro Parks putting on a presentation about invasives, and then have a talk on November 7th at 6 p.m. at the library, and we'll have a representative from our local chapter of the Wild Ones doing a talk about natives. So kind of to piggyback on what Mayor McDonald mentioned about Epstein Park cleanup, and then also the invasive removal from down by the river. We've got a lot of honeysuckle in particular, and buckthorn. Epstein Park had a lot of buckthorn. I went and walked up there with Patrick and John Biscuit not too long ago. And we've compiled some information sheets that the city has. If you are interested in learning more about some of the invasive species that we struggle with in our area. But I do encourage you to come to these talks and learn more about how you have to remove those invasives so that you can allow for the native plants to come back and provide proper habitat, meaning shelter, food, water, and all that for the local wildlife. We're also planning to do a tree documentary at the Maumee Indoor in January. We had a great event with our Common Ground movie that was shown at the end of September. We also plan to do a rain barrel workshop in March. So those are all things that we are planning. I am thankful for our proclamation for the Week of Kindness. It's perfect timing, and I think that's a great thing to do a proclamation for and encourage for our community to follow. I'm really excited. I don't know about you guys about driving around town and seeing some of the renovations. Wayne is going to look amazing. We've got, the candy shop that's going to be doing enhancements. We've got the mirror that's working on their facade enhancements, the cookie place, Claire J's. It's gonna look really, really great when they're all completed. Don't forget that early voting starts tomorrow. You can do that at our new early voting center. It's no longer in downtown Pennsylvania. And I also went to the auto market this weekend, and it was really great to see so many people on the ground. It was nice to see it so activated. Everyone seemed to have a really great time. It was perfect weather for it too. And if anyone's interested in a community garden plot, we have a few available after expanding. We doubled our plots this past year. So you can contact me if you're interested. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Now, a couple of weeks ago, the Habitat store, Restore on Conant Street had their celebration. 17 or 18, I forgot exactly what it was now. But what I didn't know about this, the Restore, they actually are, people donate lots and lots of items to that store. The money generated homes they built, people needed people around the community. And it was amazing if they actually wrote the director and netted around a little bit over $1 million last year. There's lots of big stores to give to them. Home Depot, Lowe's, lots of places donate brand new items to them because they have so much to give them. It's a better place for it. So if you have something in decent condition, that's a great way to clean up the house. Thank you.
Thank you. Last item is an executive session. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Birch. Administrator comments? Yes, thank you.
Just have a couple things.
Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Speaking of invasives, Matt, John, we put a group together this Saturday to work on buckthorn. Still a big problem. If anybody can make it, anybody in the audience wants to do it too. We meet out at there's a parking lot next to Ground Pit Bakery Yard. Or Woodland, there's a couple of entrances there. You can actually drive a vehicle back there if you got a truck or something. We've got a number of buckthorn trees that have to be removed. They're small, invasive trees about this size. There's a bunch of that to be happening because we want to do that because we've authorized a preliminary layout to show people what that park will look like. And as it through there and have other structures, some low level lighting perhaps. So we need to be able to get it cleared out enough where the surveyors can get in there and do their work. Second of all, we have, just want to clarify the Val, in all due respect, Val, our traffic laws are a little bit different in Ohio than they are in some other states. There's an exemption construction equipment. I do want to make it very clear though, that it's the downtown contractor that's going around there. It's not, I don't think you meant city employees, but and they're hauling stone. Make sure that when you do haul stone, even though they're exempt from the traffic laws in terms of they're exempt, they're allowed to travel on our streets, provided they're rubber tire or rubber track. We don't want somebody with a dozer track going on asphalt roads, but also they have right of way stop sign, except for pedestrians, right? What we don't want them to do, and I've had to stop them a couple of times, when they stop quickly, they're dropping stone out of the bucket. I make them clean it up. But I just want you to be aware that that's happening. We are enforcing that to the extent we can. Thirdly, we have a special meeting, and council aware that I talked to you on October 28th. Being the evening, when I have time yet, with the planning commission meeting, we're going to finagle. But that October 28th special meeting at council is for the purpose of hearing a presentation of a rather large economic development project in the city. And at that point, there'll be a couple of resolutions or an ordinance we have to pass if we want to go forward with that project. It's a pretty substantial project, totaling about $50 million. But that presentation will be by the company on October 28th.
And Dr. Birch, will that be at 6:15?
I don't know for sure, but I'm going to try to push it so that the planning commission doesn't have overlap with us, because the planning commission at their meeting is looking at the preliminary plat of a 306-unit subdivision on Black Road that's behind the mall that's also inside the city. So if anybody wants to attend the planning commission meeting for that, you'll hear about the plat that's being planned out behind the mall and there for 306-unit single-family subdivision.
Just in addition to that, I especially appreciate the whole focus on Epstein Park. As we move forward, we are marketing Arrowhead Park a lot more than we have in the past, because it's kind of sat with a lot of land there, and quite frankly, it could use a little boost. And I just think that taking care of that park and making that a very attractive walking type of place in those woods, as you're going to learn here in the future, and maybe at that next special council meeting, that park will get used, and it's going to be an important piece of that whole, just enlarging that area and Maumee marketing that in a better way. So I really appreciate that vision, and with that, and any help, I'm certainly willing to help. I apologize, but anybody that is willing to help is certainly a great contribution to the community and our future.
John, Rick, anybody else?
So thank you. So now we need a motion to go into executive session for pending litigation.
Thank you, Mayor McDonald. I will move to go into executive session for pending litigation.
Second. Second that, and we'll call the roll, please.
Simpkins? Harris?
Yes.
Kurt?
Yes.
Linebaugh?
Yes.
Noonan?
Yes.
Pufferberger?
Yes.
Farrell?
Yeah. Thank you. This will really